Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to All in Good Sport. My name's Chris Starcourt, and I'm here with...
You're here with Jimmy Blackburn.
And Joe Rainbow.
Harvey Langford.
Welcome back, ladies and gents. This is episode 4, I want to say, of this run of All in Good Sport. We are here on the 4th of November. You had an episode come to you yesterday, thanks to my laziness in editing. But yeah, we're doing... So this will be back-to-back-ish. This should go out on Tuesday. But yeah, welcome. How are we all?
Very good, thank you.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, for visual. I was going to say visual listeners. For YouTube watchers, you'll notice that Jimmy Blackburn is sat opposite me, which is quite intimidating. Actually, I'm a little bit kind of nervous.
We're on a date.
Yeah, they feel very intimate. But that's because this studio is falling apart. Because, of course, it is. It's been this way for a while, and it's just getting progressively worse. Yeah, and yet we pay $9,000 a year. But
to use this studio.
Anywho.
We don't go to uni.
No. Uni, what the hell is that? Right, what's new? What's exciting? What's going on? Before we get into sport, anything in your lives going on?
Well, we didn't mention it last week, but I think we should do a little bit of a WW update.
Yeah. So what was...
Skimmed over that last week, didn't we, really?
So, did we mention 2 weeks ago, did we mention that game?
We didn't mention the game against Arab Sock, no.
Which finished with what scoreline?
That was a 4-0.
Yeah. 4-0 to Arab Sock.
Yeah, that was a 4-0.
Minus the big Jimmy bust-up.
Yeah, it was a feisty one.
It was a really feisty one. They were a mouthy bunch.
Yeah, and they were squaring up. There was a lot of back and forth, and Jimmy Blackburn was leading a lot of that, which I really did appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I felt like a chief shit-stirrer / instigator, but they were so easy to rattle.
Yeah, but also they annoyed me in that their banter was terrible. Like, I don't mind it when you're going back and forth and, like, the other team are funny. They weren't funny.
No.
They were just annoying.
You know who was funny?
Who?
Alex's mum.
Shout out to Alex. Shout out to Alex and shout out to Alex's parents who came along and made that game even more... And the thing is, we lost 4-0, but it was still...
And she was giving it the big one,
We say it every week, I think, when we lose, but we lose. And yet it's still a great day out.
Well, we're getting better as well. And the week after, obviously, last week, it was 2-1.
Yeah.
And it was a great performance, wasn't it?
To be fair, last week's game was actually quite an impressive performance from us, I thought. Like, we actually put in a shift and scored an open play goal.
Yep, and
from an assist from Henry, which was phenomenal.
He was just a Rolls Royce.
He is a Rolls Royce, isn't he? Yeah, he is superb. We're still experimenting tactically. We're going to figure out what exactly is going to work.
We've gone to 5 at the back now.
I think the 5 back worked really well. Yeah,
it was good.
I liked you in that 5 back, and I like having Ramsey playing right wing back.
Yeah, it was good. I think obviously when we made the switch, we sort of needed it to sort of try and get that goal, but I did like the sort of security of being in the 5.
I just think we need a more creative midfield. Well,
who have we got in there at the moment?
So it was Alex and Ollie who started, but I think what we'll probably end up doing for Wednesday is if, new Joe who played, it'll probably be new Joe and Sarim starting in those 2 midfield slots with Nick ahead of them.
Right.
Which I think then gives you the creativity in the midfield that we really have been lacking. And then Alex and Ollie are your defensive ones to come on and shore it up.
And me.
And Jimmy, but you're not a defensive player, nor are you an attacking player.
He's a goal scorer. He's an out-and-out goal scorer, Jimmy.
You're one of the ones who do both.
Box to box, Jimmy.
But yeah, no, so that's your kind of WWE update. We've got a game at 9:30 on Wednesday. And I think our plan is we're doing fireworks and bonfire night at your house.
Yeah.
Then we're watching the US election coverage until about 6 in the morning.
I am not staying up
and
that
then about
late.
3.5 hours later is kickoff against
Dubai
Athletes, which is basically...
And they're second bottom, aren't they?
We're bottom of the league, they're second bottom. We play them twice...
In a row,
I think. So they're huge games for us.
6 pointer there, isn't it?
Yeah, big time. Huh? That's like a big... Yeah, that will make or break our season, I think. And the fact that it's at 9:30 really upsets me, but we move.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, other than that, I'm trying to think, is there anything we've missed? Was your gig at Oporto before or after last podcast?
Oh, when was it? It was
the
Monday,
day.
so it was the day of the podcast last week. It was okay, it was stressful obviously because I had podcast and then work and then gig, so it was sort of here, there, everywhere for me. But yeah, the gig was alright.
It was a lot of fun actually. I've not seen you guys perform since...
Not yesterday, it was you were there, wasn't you? You was the only person to come along to that actually, so thanks very much, Chris.
Poor
looking at the two.
I went a couple of weeks back.
But yeah, on that topic actually, we're recording our first song on Wednesday.
Which is very exciting.
In the music room, so that'll be out soon, I hope.
Yeah.
So, get listening.
And what is the single going to be called, Joe?
It's called No Clue.
No clue. So look out for that on Spotify, the Dulakes.
Yeah.
Gives us
Follow the Duo
Give us a bit of time to get it out first.
No, I don't think there's anything else I've got to add.
Any life updates? No.
I don't think I have any life. I don't really do much.
You don't have a life.
No, I just exist. But should we get into some football?
Yes. It's a good week of football, wasn't it?
It was a good week of football. Well, depends on who you support, but
Yeah, Gav, before this podcast, he sent me a little DM and he said, you might want to use this stat for Ikes. And it was a tweet from a Wolves fan saying that I had a daughter born in May.
I bookmarked that tweet to read out on this podcast.
Go on then.
Right, hang
Find
on.
it.
Let me find this for you. Where do you find bookmarks on? Ah, here we go.
I don't want to go through your Twitter bookmarks, mate.
No.
A dangerous game.
Right, where are we? Oh, I didn't bookmark it. Go on, Jim.
Right, it was a Wolves fan. I can't remember the handle. But he said, I had a daughter born in May, and she hasn't seen Wolves win in her lifetime.
Can I just give you some stats really quickly? We haven't beaten a current Premier League side since Fulham on the 9th of March, which was 20 games ago. We've played 10 games, and in 9 of them we've conceded at least 2. If we continue this current trajectory, we end the season on either 11 or 12 points. Yeah, so we need 37 points in 28 games to reach that kind of 40-point mark.
Safe mark.
Which is the safe mark. Bruno Lage, for reference, by the way, so bear in mind we've played 9 games and are on 3 points. Bear in mind Bruno Lage was sacked after 9 games, having been on 9 points. I am so apologetic to Bruno Lage. I hated that man. I look at him now and I go, what? Nuno's managerial win percentage was 47.7%. He was sacked. Bruno Lage was 37.2. He was sacked. Lopetegui's was 37 and he quit. Gary O'Neill's is 31.5%.
Do you think he sort of had that grace period of sort of a bit of success that sort of carried him through?
Yeah, he definitely did. But they all did.
Patch?
But the point is, when shit got bad, they were sacked. How the
Yeah.
hell is Gary O'Neill still in a job?
Well, I was speaking to you yesterday, and you were sort of saying it's time to go now, isn't it?
Like,
Yeah.
and I've been a Gary O'Neill defender since this podcast began.
You love him.
I love him. Fuck that guy.
I never thought I'd hear the day.
Wow.
No, I can't stand to watch this anymore.
When your fans become your haters, man.
But I'll be honest, if we could sack O'Neill and go out and get David Moyes, that would be huge.
The Moyes to
Mate.
Wolves.
What, and then go
But
win the
it's
European
the
Cup
first
this
time
season
we've
after?
failed to win any of our opening 10 games of a league season for the first time since 1983. Come on, man.
It's like WWF.
One
Wait,
win in
you
20
are
league games.
Wolverhampton Wanderers. You are WWF.
Yeah. But one win in 20 league games is absurd.
It is poor, that. It's very poor.
I thought you'd get it against Palace, but that finished 2-2.
Of course it did, because we can't hold on to a lead because he makes retarded substitutions. He's an idiot. He brought Bellegarde on at left back. Like, genuinely, he's the thing is, and I love him as a bloke, and he speaks so well that you kind of go, yeah, he knows what he's doing. Does he fuck? He's clueless. Like, the substitutions he's made are showing he's an idiot. He's completely, and the thing is, the players are backing him, but he doesn't know what he's doing. He has such great players on the bench who he doesn't use, and then brings on the stinkers, and every time we go up, we concede, and it either ends in a draw or a loss, and more than likely a loss. Against the bigger teams, it has been. I'm glad that we got points again, but they're papering over cracks. The Brighton result, the Palace result, it is papering over cracks. He has to go.
Is there any sort of hope in the performances you're putting on it?
No.
Are you playing well or
Not really. The goals. To be fair, the hope comes from the fact that we have good players like Cunha, Strand Larsen, Aït-Nouri. Cunha is. To be fair, if you go on FotMob and you look at the ratings for Premier League players this season, Cunha is 7th out of everyone in the league.
Okay.
Like, Mateus Cunha is a phenomenal player. Aït-Nouri's great, although he had a bit of a poor game against Palace. Strand Larsen's been a good signing, and like we have the players for it, not defenders, but we have the players for it. It's just he's not getting the best out of them, and I do genuinely think another manager could get the best out of them.
You know who is getting the best out of his current crop of players?
Go on.
It's Nuno.
Yes, you know what, right? If Morgan Gibbs-White didn't play for Forest, I would be really happy for Nuno and for Forest. But Morgan Gibbs-White being there puts a sour taste in my mouth.
But Forest now, 3rd in the Premier
It's
League.
phenomenal.
It's such a. I mean, when you told me the other day when they were 3rd, I was like, what? Really? You know?
But remember, this is
Such
what
a
Nuno did for
surprise.
us,
Yeah.
where we finished 7th in the league in our 2nd season in the Premier League. having come back up. We got Europa League football under Nuno. He's a phenomenal manager. Like he is brilliant at what he does.
Like as for a guy like as a mid-block team,
Yeah.
they are.
Oh,
They're the best.
I
in
mean,
the league.
the side that they've got as well isn't necessarily quality-wise isn't a top 4 side, is it?
no,
So what he's getting out of that bunch of players is certainly something to be proud of.
Look, and obviously, Chris Wood is not going to have this goal-scoring run forever. And when the goals start
Killing me
drying
already,
up, you know, he is killing all of us in FPL, I think. But when the goals start drying up for him, you know, they'll start dropping points. But whilst he's in this rich vein of form, gotta love it as a Forest fan.
It's been,
It will certainly be sort of safe or thereabouts when it does stop come to an end. So we'll see how long that lasts.
did you boys see the Anya goal?
I did
No.
not.
Proddy, can you pull that up?
Sure.
If you just search Ola Anya and then go to videos, it's like the first thing that comes up. It's phenomenal.
I remember after I saw an interview
See him with
him.
his what was the
He had a Ribena.
Ribena? That was it.
He had a Ribena in his post-match interview, and he said,
yeah.
I was tired, so I just hit it."
Yeah, I love. Who I can't remember who the interviewer was for that, but it was like she was a phenomenal interviewer, but I can't remember what her name is. I have to find the clip.
Right,
Just the goal.
we're looking at an Ola Aina Thunderbolt.
I can't remember which. It wasn't the first one. It was either the second or third.
Is that Chris Wood header?
Chris
Fuck
Wood and
Chris
goal.
Wood, man.
I think it was the third goal.
But Chris Wood for Forest reminds me of how Nuno used Jimenez at Wolves. Like
In
'cause
what way?
He was so good aerially, Jimenez, but also you've got decent wingers. Is this the one?
Oh, Thunderbolt.
Yeah.
What a goal.
Yeah.
What a finish!
What a boy, man. I had him on the bench in FPL. 15 points.
It's after a screamer, that, isn't it?
It's fun to see all the fake Forest fans.
Oh,
out
yeah.
At home.
Oh,
Well,
I bet. They're
Are
all
we going to
like
get a
crawling out
switch
the
from the
woodwork now.
United stand?
How far away is Nottingham from your neck of the woods, Alfie?
About half an hour. So not quite.
Are you going to be donning the shirt next week?
Absolutely not.
Good luck.
So as a sort of as a Mansfield fan, what are your feelings towards Forest? Are you like are they like hated?
Not really, 'cause it's kind of.
I suppose
quite- yeah.
the gap between the divisions is too sort
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
far to stretch,
It's
isn't
more
it?
Chesterfield kind of rivalry than Forest.
Fair.
Is that closer than Forest?
Yeah.
All right, there you go. So obviously Man City as well. Their
Yeah,
32-game run was ended.
This
Yeah.
title race is shaping up to
Yeah.
be like an all-timer. It just seems like no one wants it.
No.
Well, it's the contrast to last season because everybody was up for it, and obviously already we've had Man City lose their game at the weekend. Arsenal lost to Newcastle. They've dropped plenty of points this season. Liverpool are the only sort of side at the moment who've sort of taken a little bit of a strong footing.
Yeah.
But
So Liverpool 25 points, City with 23, Forest with 19, Chelsea with 18, and Arsenal with 18.
United with how
and then
many?
Villa with 18, Spurs 16, and then and
The,
Brighton with
the rest
16,
are just.
and then everything else.
Yeah.
I've had
Nothing
this,
else matters.
I've had this one stat bombarded at me this weekend. It's Chris Wood has scored as many goals as Man United have this season. Fuck off! Don't want to hear it.
Definitely wasn't part of that.
So yeah, you drew at the weekend, didn't you?
Yeah, with Chelsea last night. Poor game, really.
To be fair, it's a good result against a decent team, though.
Yeah.
It is, but Chelsea were horrific.
Yeah.
We honked, and I was watching the F1 most of the time.
Fair.
But it was, from what I caught of it, Garnacho wasteful. Xerxes is very slow when he came on.
Well,
he is like surprisingly slow. I watched the highlights. He just looks like
I saw a clip of
don't know what it is.
on Twitter actually of comparing him to the. Have you ever watched the Bateson clip in the charity football match? And I saw a clip of comparing him to him, and it was just like, strikingly similar.
Yeah. I mean, one player who can leave that pitch with their head held high, Mazraoui, looked really good, I thought. Just defensive monster. When he's fit, this guy's going to be a really key player for us, I think, under Amorim.
yeah. Who can I just say, by the way, when we discussed Ten Hag last week, who did I say should replace him? Who did I say even before it had come out?
It was
like,
literally like a day before it came out.
But literally, I was quite proud of that because I listened back to the podcast and I mentioned it. And I don't know who it was that said, "Nah, he's at Sporting."
That was me.
Yeah,
was you, wasn't it?
And I smashed that. So for anyone who's listening to this podcast immediately after the last one, you'll know I was right. Yeah, but discuss that.
Is
What
he
are
your
what are
preferred
feelings on
candidate? What? Yeah.
Well, it doesn't really matter now who my preferred candidates were. I just
Would
got
he
it-
have been
can-
though?
He's a good manager. To be honest, I'm not going to lie. I don't know all that much about
Yeah.
him. I know he's been successful with Sporting, and I've seen, tired comparisons with Eric Ten Hag, successful in a lower league, but Ten Hag, who had the highest budget in the Eredivisie by a long, long way, versus Amorim, who's achieved the same level of success with the third highest budget, and he's disrupted Porto and he's disrupted Benfica. They've got
70.74% win percentage.
They're a really tidy team with some cracking players, and I hope he brings over a couple for us.
Mm-hmm.
But I hope we don't fall down the same trap of we'll just get the manager to bring on all their players that he's worked with in the past, because clearly that didn't work with Ten Hag. But yeah, he's a head coach instead of a manager, which is the first time in Man United's history that we have a head coach.
What's the difference?
Well, a manager is managing all the different aspects of, like, I suppose, backroom stuff as well.
Yeah.
And they've got so much more of a sway. Fergie was a manager. He's dealing with, all sorts of, like, he'd be cussing out the referees in, like, meetings and stuff, and they'll be doing everything, whereas the head coach is just coaching the team.
That's quite cool, actually. I like that.
Jurgen Klopp was a manager,
Yeah.
right, for Liverpool. He had control over almost every aspect of that club.
Yeah.
He had control over transfers. He had control over just any kind of ins and outs. It goes through him. Whereas with the head coach, he's reporting to a hierarchy.
Yeah.
He's a slot. He's not a slot. He's a piece of the jigsaw instead of the boss.
To be fair, I was just looking through Sporting's squad list, and they have some tidy players, to be fair. Victor Gyökeres, who is phenomenal. Pedro Gonçalves, who wasn't... I don't want to get into that because he was at Wolves and we let him go, and it's a whole other thing.
If they're Portuguese, they were probably at Wolves at some point.
And Trincao, who was at Wolves, and who looked great whenever he wasn't at Wolves. Everywhere else he went, he looked phenomenal, and then at Wolves he just stank. But yeah, no, it does seem like a really exciting appointment, and I saw a lot of tweets actually talking about the kind of link that United and Sporting have had kind of historically, where generally those kind of transfers between the clubs seem to go pretty well.
Ronaldo, haven't you?
Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes. So hopefully Amorim is next in that kind of list of successful transactions between the two clubs.
Yeah, we'll see. He takes over during the international break, so his first match will be away at Ipswich. Hopefully we can get off to a winning start there.
Surely.
Big weekend of FA Cup as well.
Yeah, huge weekend.
So with a lot of shocks in there.
First round. Proddy, you were there. You were watching Mansfield versus Curzon Ashton. How did that one go?
It was a great match. I know that we were a few leagues ahead of them, but I think it was the best football I've ever seen us play. And that's saying something.
What was the score?
4-0. But some guy in front of me had a bet on 5-0. He was gutted.
That would have been me.
Well, he had the bit of in the group chat before, obviously, the game. You had a penalty.
Yeah.
And was it Footmob? What was it?
Footmob gave us a goal before we'd even took the penalty.
How confident?
It was a great save from the defender, though, for the red card. That was fun.
I didn't. So what happened? What, it had deliberate handball?
Yeah. He basically just was on the line and just went...
Though I've seen a tweet appealing that sort of after the game.
It was the player.
It was the player,
I saw
and
it.
he put a big picture of his chest with the ball mark on his chest. Now maybe he's got a bit of the lad's makeup.
Yeah.
Saps it on.
Yeah.
But it did look like a dead
Are
handball.
we about to have a
wasn't it?
live guest on the pod? What the hell?
Hello, Ramsey.
Ramsey Irwin.
Ramsey Owen, do you fancy joining us?
Got a celebrity appearance, a
Go on,
singer
Jump in.
of the Dew Lakes.
Ramsey Irwin of Musish Pod.
Sorry, Spencer.
Hey, you're all right.
Do you want to jump? If you want to jump in on Chris's mic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that mic is cooked, but you can show him me.
I'll just
Are you just going to sit in the corner? Alright, fair enough.
Have we got a cuck stool for it?
Nah, he's just going to sit on the floor, man.
Do you want to be the cameraman?
Right, anyway.
So yeah, we had the Tamworth shock as well. They beat Huddersfield.
Was that the game with the long throw?
It was a throw-in, yeah.
Yeah, that was
so
crazy.
The ball came in, completely caught the keeper off guard. I think it was, however it went into the net.
Well, the keeper flapped it in.
Yeah.
So I suppose if the keeper hadn't touched it, then it wouldn't have counted.
No.
Because you can't score directly from a throw-in, but because the keeper...
Yeah, I
flapped
don't really
it.
know what the keeper was doing.
It went down as no goal. He clearly wasn't prepared for it.
No, it was
a
that
great
was a
throw-in,
lot of
wasn't
fun
it?
to watch.
He was getting praise from Rory Delap, Ben Tozer,
Yeah.
everyone with a
Shout out
javelin.
Ben Tozer, what a boy.
Yeah.
I love Ben Tozer.
Oh, Wrexham lost.
Yeah?
Yeah, they went
They
down
did.
to
Yeah, Harrogate, yeah.
Harrogate, yeah. 1-0 that was.
And we had the big lad Niall Ranger scoring the winner for Kettering.
Yeah, no, that's crazy to me.
Ranger.
Now he used to play for, was it Manchester United?
He was at Newcastle.
Newcastle,
Because
he's
True
playing Premier
Geordie,
League.
True Geordie, I think it was one of True Geordie's first videos where he goes off about Niall Ranger. I think so. Let me try and find it.
Well, I read a really interesting piece on him actually the other week, where he was meant to be sort of a big young star in the Premier League, and then his life took a turn and went down the drugs route or whatever, and he completely fell apart and obviously ended up in non-leagues. He's been about, that kid. You know, we've
Roddy,
faced him a
can
couple of
Can you
times.
do me a favour?
Mhm.
Can you go on YouTube and search True Geordie Niall Ranger, the second video, and if you flip the switch up, we should be able to get audio for it.
Oh. Wow.
I don't know.
We're in
Yeah,
the-
a
we're
True
in the
Geordie
big league.
view on Niall Ranger.
We're in the big leagues now. A True Geordie. There we go. That's like, before he was messaging people to shit on his chest.
Yeah. And then, yes, if you then
before
on
the
the desk,
allegations.
I think you can slide up one of them. Yeah, and then
Term for the little cunt. A player who very, very rarely plays for the Newcastle team has come out and criticised the fans. Newcastle have been nothing short of absolutely fucking shit this season. We've been absolutely dire.
Every
Right?
season.
yeah,
No problem with that. I can fucking handle that. When the team plays well, I'll pat them on the back. When they play shit, I'll tell them that they played shit when I'm at the match. If they're trying their best and they still lose, I can't ask any more than that, and that's fair enough.
pretty about
But
halfway
that's not
through.
the
I just want to
case,
see
yeah.
if he really.
Now there's a
needs to say.
footballer. That's it. You know, we're sitting back.
Yeah, he
What
seems
do you
quite-
expect?
It seems quite calm.
You're
actually.
nothing, man. So I need to get this through this little twat's head, right?
Okay, maybe not.
Don't fucking become a footballer if you don't like being booed, you fucking moron. Do you not think every fucking
Yeah,
player
that's
has to
the
listen
kind
to their
of
own fans
I
boo
think
them
that
at some
sort of
point?
summarises.
Chess has
What I
had
was-
quite
what
the
was
transformation.
That's the Niall
Yeah.
Ranger story. But, good for him. Scoring for, what was it, Kettering Town?
Kettering.
K
How
and
old-
an
how
E
old
and a
is-
T and a T. E and an R and an ING. T and an O and a W and Kettering Town FC.
So he's 33.
And an E and a T and a T. E and an O. I'll stop. Go and watch the James Acaster clip in full.
But yeah, so Kettering Town beat Northampton.
Mm-hmm.
Is that I don't really know.
It's quite a big shot. That
Yeah.
Kettering are in the National League North. Northampton,
League
I
One.
believe, are in League One. Obviously, have to get promoted last
Yeah.
season. So yeah, quite a big shock that.
Yeah. But, I mean, there was some controversy with the FA Cup because they've scrapped the replays.
They
So
have.
a load of the lower league teams that were drawing,
Guiseley,
Like,
for instance.
Guiseley, Western Supermare, that's
Mm.
kind of mine and Bryn, friend of the pod, our neck of the woods. Western Supermare in a local derby against Bristol Rovers. Western are in Chepnam's league, and then Bristol Rovers are in what, they League Two? League One.
Bristol Rovers are League One now, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. So Western got that to 1-1. That should be going to a replay. No, it goes to extra time, and then Bristol, bring on their subs and whatnot and win it 3-1. Same with Guiseley. It's a real shame, and just because of scheduling issues in the Prem, the big teams are shafting the little
It
ones
completely
again.
sort of fits the agenda of those big teams as well, because obviously, for those big teams, as you say, it is about sort of the less games, the better for them. But when you're a small side, such as you guys and whatever, if you get a big replay against a big side, how much money does that bring in for small clubs like?
It's a lot. And
Like, do you know what I mean?
even getting to the first round proper it gets you a lot of money. When Chippenham do, which is very rare. We've only been in the first round of the FA Cup a few times in our history, but it's a massive gate that we'll get because it will be it'll be by far and away the biggest gate this season, especially if we draw a league side, and then the money that we'll get from that will fund the rest of the year.
You've got your TV money as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a big payday that's been cut essentially
Yeah,
from
I mean-
these smaller clubs.
Yeah, Kettering, that game was on the BBC. We were watching it. Imagine just what good that will do that club now that they've won. But for Western and Guiseley, it will be a case of, well, we should be having another match. But they're out now.
Yeah.
There's nothing they can do about
It
it.
is true, and to be fair, it is. It's a difficult thing in that obviously you want both sides to be happy, but at the same time the joy of the FA Cup is that it
But-
gives teams like
But
this
I
the
don't
opportunity.
think it should be a sort of debate at all because
No,
Sort of-
I don't really understand why it needed
As in-
changing.
the teams that are complaining about having a replay, if you don't want a replay, go beat them.
Yeah, exactly.
You're better than them. Do you know what I mean? It's your fault. For
Yeah, exactly.
do
Then
you know what I mean?
put out your full strength team and make sure there isn't a replay.
I find it
That's the
ridiculous.
point. If you don't want a replay, yeah, exactly. Make sure that there isn't one.
Right. Bradford won.
We did, yeah, 3-1. We came from behind.
You against Aldershot, was it?
Yes, we played them a couple of times in the cup actually. A couple of years ago we played them, and it was quite funny actually because the last time we did play them in the FA Cup, Stuart McCall did the draw and pulled out at Aldershot Bradford home tie. This year round he was there again, did the draw and pulled the exact same tie. So that was a
Oh,
quite.
can we get some like celebs doing like random League Cup? Have you
Have
seen,
you seen the Rod Stewart?
Rod Stewart
in
when
Scotland?
he's like incredibly drunk doing the Scottish League Cup draw? But have you seen Donald Trump doing the League Cup draw?
Yes.
The league, there's in the English League Cup.
Yeah, back in like
Proddy pull
Pull
that
it
up.
back in like the 90s, Trump in like prime art of the deal. Trump doing the League Cup draw is just mental. Have you got it?
That's nuts.
Yeah, the second video of the.
Harry done.
He must be next.
Where's the Don?
To do the draw for the Rumblers.
Can I ask it?
Well, you ask him, he'll never do it.
All right, okay, I bet we can do it.
We now come to the draw for the 5th round of the Rumbelows League Cup.
There you go.
Assisting me with the draw are Jimmy Greaves, who will draw the home team, and Donald Trump.
Number 5
Donald Trump and
Leeds
Jimmy
United
Greaves.
is number 6.
will play Manchester United.
Oh,
Donald Trump drawing Manchester United is crazy to me.
That's
that is
criminal.
mental. I've never seen that before. Oh, that's mental.
Yeah. Last night I was brainstorming for little segments we could do on this show, and I thought we could do some cup sets rankings. So I've compiled a little list here of the best cup sets in FA Cup history, and I think we got 8 or so here. So we'll rank them 1 to 8.
Let me just say the winner's already been decided.
Yeah, I
by
know.
the
I,
way.
kn- I know. but we'll get on to that one, but I want to start by chatting about Wigan 1, Man City 0, the 2013 FA Cup final. How much do we know about that one?
It's the Ben Watson header, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
90th minute.
I remember it vividly.
No, I didn't
I didn't watch
it.
football
no.
back in.
because-
Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to be entirely useless for a lot of this because I didn't watch football before like 2015.
Yeah, when I
Well, kids, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but no, I didn't watch football as a kid.
Damn.
FA Cup.
Do you
staple.
remember it, Jimmy?
I do.
Yeah?
I remember watching it.
Yeah.
Like one of my earlier Man City hate watches. But I think this was a game where I think it was Yaya Toure got sent off, and then Wigan, who had just been relegated from the Prem, then winning the FA Cup in the last minute with a Ben Watson header.
Mm.
Like Ginger Beacon, we've got one at WWFC. Shout out Henry. But this is a Ginger Beacon scoring at Wembley in the last minute to win the cup for good old Dave Whelan and Roberto Martinez, who was managing Wigan at the time.
And the thing is about that Wigan side as well is they were the only Championship side that competed in Europe the season after, obviously winning the cup.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever got to the proper group stages, but they definitely
Yeah.
qualified.
It was a big shock, that one, because, City, this was the year after they won the league title. And there's also a game that they really needed to win because they were nowhere in the league that season. That was the last time United won the league.
They did get to the actual group stage.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
They got 5 points, to be fair.
Oh, brilliant.
In a group with, this is meant, right, Rubin Kazan, Maribor, Zulte Waregem, and Wigan.
This is what a group.
Oh,
man.
no, okay, tell a lie. No, it wasn't. This was in the qualifying
Qualifying.
stage.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the top 2 then...
Well-
No, I'm lying. It was. It was,
Wigan
it was
in
the
the group
actual...
stage.
Yeah,
Wow.
the actual group stage.
Well, that season as well, we went on our other cup run, our League Cup run, and we beat them on penalties. So
The run to the League Cup
the
final.
League Cup final, yeah.
Where you lost 5-0 to Swansea.
Yeah, I remember that.
Just let's mute him for a
I remember the Wigan game because my brother had just been shat on by a seagull. And
Glad you said Seagull.
And he said, right, we're going to play this game.
True
We're
joke.
going to play this game on FIFA, Wigan City. And he went, I'll have a bet on it. and he scored in the last minute with a header for Wigan.
Also, he
Oh,
put
shit.
Wigan
Recreated
as the
it.
winners.
Basically recreated it, yeah.
That's
Alright,
crazy. I've got another Wigan 1, Man City 0 here as a cup set. This was the 4th round in 2018.
That was the Will Grigg, wasn't it?
It was a Will Grigg. It was Will Grigg, who was the top scorer in the FA Cup that season. He was on fire, and City's defence was terrified. But I think I put it on there because I know it's not a final, but the two teams are in vastly different places. 5 years on. Wigan were in League One at the time, playing at home, and Man City, this was their 100-point season, and they were going for a quadruple and everything. And then
That's so good.
and then for Wigan to beat them again 1-0.
Would you argue that's better than the final, or no?
I don't know. You'd have to
Because
ask
City,
the Wigan fan.
where was City at, like, in terms of the whole kind of project in 2012? Like, was City?
Well, they won the league with Mancini,
Yeah.
Aguero moment and all that. So they're one of the best teams in the league, but they're not like they don't have the dominance that they do
Fine,
under
okay.
Pep.
But they're still a pretty sturdy side.
But it's Wigan who've they've been relegated and they've been relegated again,
yeah,
and then for them to come and repeat what they did 5 years earlier, haunt
Yeah, shout out
City
Wigan.
again. That would be going up pretty high on mine. We'll do our
Yeah.
rankings at the end, but
Mm-hmm.
go on then. We'll talk about Bradford.
Yeah.
Chelsea 2, Bradford 4. Joe,
Big one. Well, bearing in mind at this point, Chelsea went on to win the league.
2016 this was, yeah?
This is 2015.
2015.
So 14-15. That season, up until Chelsea in the league only lost 3 games that season. Up until that point, they'd lost twice against Tottenham and Newcastle. And I think Real Madrid in the cup in Europe. And up until that point, we were the 4th side to beat them that season. So that's some good company, that, isn't it?
The Chelsea team that you played against, by the way, included Petr Cech,
Didier Drogba.
Christensen, Zuma, Cahill, Azpilicueta, Oscar, Fabregas, Salah, Willian, Drogba, and Eden Hazard.
It was mental. Yeah, because
With Nathan Ake on the bench.
well, I remember it as
Courtois on the
I remember
bench.
it as well because they put out a slightly weaker side, bearing in mind still costing about 300 million
Yeah.
compared to our 100,000 whatever.
But Drogba started.
And they started bringing on all these players. And we were 2-1 down at half time, and I didn't go to the game, I was listening to it in the living room. And I remember hearing us concede the second goal. And
Yeah,
I
you went 2-0 down.
We were, yeah.
Fucking hell.
And then I was sort of drifting off to sleep because I was like, it's done. And then John Stead scored an absolute screamer. If you watch the goal as well,
I'm gonna pull it up.
search the John
Probably you
Stead
can
goal.
pull it
Come
up.
on, bro.
and it is an absolute, it's a brilliant finish. And I think he also got top scorer in the cup that season, or one of them at least. And then from there, we just steamrolled it. It was like, and if you see as well, if you can find the Mark Yates goals, just pull up the highlights and you'll be witnessing some
The thing is, at Stamford
class
Bridge,
football. Yeah.
That is mental.
at Stamford Bridge, it's just
And there was something about 60 places between us and them at the time, and it was just,
Didier
what a
Drogba
time to be
versus-
alive.
Drogba versus Andy Halliday.
I mean, all 4 of our goals were Premier League quality as well. It was,
Skip it on a bit, Prod.
so that's your Stead goal. Now pull up the equaliser.
So that was 2-1.
That was 2-1. Just a
Second-
flick on, equaliser's a bit less special, but good finish.
That is my favourite away end in England,
Yeah.
by the way. Chelsea's away
Hit
end.
it, Andy Halliday, how about that? Now bring it on a little bit, and you'll see some.
Is this the 4th goal?
This is the 4th goal. Take it back. You've missed the flick. You've missed the flick. This.
Big moment again for Chelsea.
Inside, touch, flick.
Oh,
So
wow.
neatly done. They can run with it.
Wow. That's
That was one of the best
phenomenal.
days of my life. That, and I remember my mum was in Halifax at the time, and she's never put a bet on in her life, ever. She's not that sort of person. And she walked in a betting shop and was about to put a bet on Bradford City to win,
Oh,
and then she didn't.
Pottle job.
That's
Yeah.
heartbreaking.
Although I know somebody actually, because on the same day as well, and you've missed this one for your list. Not quite as shocking, but Man City lost to Middlesbrough on the same day, and I think Man City were top of the league at the point, just behind Chelsea just behind them. And Middlesbrough beat them 2-0. And I know somebody who put a bet on Bradford and Middlesbrough to win, and he won 15 grand.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Wow.
It was a great day of football.
Great punting that. I'm going to go on to my next one. This is the biggest gap between divisions in this list. This is from 2017, fourth round. Burnley 0, Lincoln City 1. Burnley Premier League at the time, Lincoln National League.
That's heavy.
It is heavy. I don't have too much context for that.
Well,
gap,
that was the
apart
Cowley brothers, wasn't it? They were obviously rose to their sort of fame in that year with Lincoln. I mean, now are they in the League One now, Lincoln?
They are, yeah.
So that gap sort of shrunk.
Mm.
But yeah, at the time it was massive, and it was the same season as the Sutton shock. If you remember the Sutton
United, yeah,
they went on their run and they got pummeled by Arsenal.
yeah, that was 5-0 in the end. But you had two National League teams in like the fifth round.
Was it quarterfinals? Lincoln got to the quarters, I think.
Yeah, I can't remember who they lost to, but
yeah, it was good. It was a good season for that for the National League sides.
yeah. We got another one here. This is from 1976. This is Manchester. This was the FA Cup final, 76. Man United 0, Southampton 1. What is described as one of the biggest cup final upsets of all time, because Joe, you're doing your research now.
I'm doing my research because I'm convinced that this is the semi-final.
No, it's
Southampton beat Bradford City. I think. Or was it the quarter-final?
Were you around then, Joe?
No, but my dad tells me about it all the time because he went to the game. I'm just trying to figure it out.
But anyway, whilst you're looking at
quarter-final, we lost 1-0 to Southampton, so we could have been in that final.
could have been, but Southampton were Championship at the time, or whatever the equivalent, second division, I think, versus Man United first division. I think we'd finished runners-up that season or something like that. And no one gave Southampton a rat's chance in hell, and they score in the 85th or something like that, and win it.
So United at that time, give us some names.
That's kind of United wilderness years, I think, 76.
Right, okay.
Because it's who's going to be managing back then? I mean, we're past the prime days of the
Busby's
European.
and all that, yeah.
You know,
No.
no more Busby. He would have gone a few years later.
If you know who the manager was, that would be very impressive.
It's not going to be Big Ron Atkinson, is
No.
it? No, because he's kind of
Early
80s.
90s, wasn't he?
Is it Tommy something?
Tommy Doherty, well done.
Tommy Doherty.
Ooh.
Yeah. Tommy, he's no longer with us now. But, it was kind of United wilderness.
I don't
years.
recognise any of these names.
It would have been back end of George Best's career, because this is when he was proper, like, drinking, partying.
Shut up.
But
Legend.
but yeah, I couldn't name you 70s players. 80s maybe.
There is not one person on this
So,
list that I recognise.
Dennis Law, was he the 60s?
No.
Yeah, Law was part of the Holy Trinity. Law, Charlton and Best.
All right, okay.
We got a statue outside Old Trafford. Yeah, maybe Paddy something. I think the team.
Paddy Rock?
No, I'm thinking Paddy Crowand.
No.
No.
Because the Paddy that I've seen had 4
Paddy
appearances.
Power?
Now that's a good friend.
Mr. Patrick Power.
It's a crazy gang.
I was going to talk about it. Yeah, crazy gang.
That's Britain's end of the woods. Liverpool, Liverpool, Wimbledon. Sorry.
Oh, don't say MK Dons. No, but yeah, 1988 final. Crazy gang beating the Culture Club. That was the famous line. But Liverpool, the dominant force in English football, in world football, really. They're the best team on the planet. And losing to Wimbledon only in their second season being in the first division.
That's nuts.
Vinnie Jones and all that.
Well, come off the back of was it 3 European championships in that decade?
Yeah, I mean, just incredible team getting beat by Wimbledon.
Where were they at that point? Were they in?
They were seventh. They finished 7th that season in the first division.
Oh, so they were in the first division.
Yeah, but it was only their they were promoted only the season before, so they hadn't really established themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But they have their reputation, and then they go and win the final. I've got 2 more on this list. Wrexham 2, Arsenal 1 in the third round in 1992. The worst defeat of George Graham's Arsenal managerial career. Wrexham were in the equivalent of what is now League 2 against Arsenal, and they won that one 2-1. Saw that one on Welcome to Wrexham a few times. And then, Proddy, have you added this one?
I've added this
one.
one.
You've
It's
added this one, Joe.
Hereford. The famous Ronnie Radford, if you've ever heard of him.
No.
And once again, if you want to pull up the goal, Alfie, it is a absolute
Alfie's
thunderbolt.
getting his work
I think
in
I think Hereford were in League Two, possibly the National League at the point, and obviously went to First Division Newcastle and scored 2 goals in extra time to win the game. But you'll see the pitch as well when it comes up on the video, and it's just quintessential non-league football.
So we're just watching an unskippable ad for, what is this?
Freeman's.
Freeman's.
Shout out Freeman's. Friends of the pod.
Sponsor us,
Sponsorship, please. Get some money. Fix your studio.
Ronnie Radford. God, you got a good little FA Cup brain.
I've
Joe.
got a great FA
Tremendous
Cup
spirit
brain.
in this Hereford side.
Is that why you're
They're
going
not
to
giving
write
this up
about
by
it for the
any
Griffins?
It is. Yeah.
Radford.
Christ, look at that pitch.
Now Tudor's gone down for Newcastle.
Mudbath.
And it's
Radford again. Oh,
and it's the famous, obviously, the late John Motson
Ronnie Radford.
commentating. It's just
Crowd.
proper 70s stuff. That
Pitch invasion as well. Oh, wow. Oh, that's amazing.
it's mental. Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
Oh,
Sheep Shaggers 2, Newcastle 1.
see, that's what it's all about. Okay, let's rank these then.
Bradford 1 win to me.
I think it's Bradford.
Yeah.
at
Oh,
number
thanks,
one.
boys. Are you agreeing out of...
It's just from like the circumstance of being 2-0 down away at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, the fact that it's an away
Yeah.
game.
Losing at half-time
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, against Drogba has it. You know.
Yeah.
Pure nostalgia wins that for me as well.
Crazy.
But yeah, objectively, I do think that's...
Petr Cech shipping 4 against Bradford is crazy work.
Yeah, I'd have that at 1-0.
Yeah.
I'd have. Oh, I think I'd have Wigan.
I'd put the Hereford 1 second just because...
For the pitch invasion alone, it's going second for me.
All right, yeah.
You know,
Go on then. We'll have Hereford second. I think third could be a toss-up between Burnley, Lincoln, just because of the gap in divisions there.
I suppose you've got to consider sort of the rounds as well, given the finals.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Yeah, I mean, I think Liverpool Wimbledon's up there, but is that as big of a shock as United Southampton? You know, Southampton being in the Championship.
Well, it's probably more
at that
memorable,
time?
isn't it? But shock-wise,
Yeah,
It's quite hard to judge shock, though. Like, with the ones that we can remember, they're quite easy to go, that was a shocking result. Whereas you look at the ones from the 70s, you go,
we weren't
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
yeah.
All right, I think I'm going to put the Man United Southampton one at number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can back that.
And then at number 4, I'll have Liverpool Wimbledon.
Yeah.
Because I think they're two very similar.
Number 5, Burnley Lincoln, maybe,
Yeah, I'm happy to have Burnley.
Then I'd have the Wigan City final.
and then
Yeah.
maybe back-to-back Wigan,
Yeah.
back-to-back Wigan, and then
Wrexham at the
on.
bottom, purely just because
Yeah,
we don't know that much about
No.
it.
yeah, but yeah. So the official All in Good Sport biggest cup set in history: Chelsea 2, Bradford 4 from 2015. Are you happy now,
Biggest
John?
I
FA
am
Cup
very happy.
upset, I would say.
Yeah.
Because I love the Blues Arsenal in the League Cup. Because Kofi Blake, I don't know if he listens. I know he's listened a couple of times.
He's
but
still a friend of the pod.
he's still a friend of the pod. He was there. And mate, that's he'll just bring that up every so often.
That was Obafemi Martin scoring,
Yeah.
the winner, wasn't it?
Which was, I think it was 2-1.
Yeah, Obafemi Martin. So that was what, 2011?
Yeah, I want to say. But There's
Yeah.
a picture of Kofi at the game, and he looks like something out of. Have you seen the TV show Arthur?
Yeah.
He looks like DW.
And I said, "Hey,
Yeah.
what a wonderful time."
Shall we get off football?
Yes.
Oh, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, no.
We've talked about it for
we
quite a
have done
while.
43 minutes of football. Though,
Yeah.
is my only concern.
My honourable mention in that cup sets list: Chippenham 1, Lincoln 0 in 2022. What do we want to talk about next?
Do you want to give us a bit of the rugby? I didn't watch it, but
Yeah, I'll chat briefly about the autumn internationals. It was England against the All Blacks at Twickenham. Really great game. I watched it on Saturday. I haven't watched rugby since the Six Nations, but I thought I'd give this one a go. And what a match it was. Finished England 22, New Zealand 24. This isn't the New Zealand team of the kind of a decade ago where all conquering All Blacks. But they're still a very good team with some really good players, especially the Barrett brothers, Bowden and Geordie. Bowden is, I mean, I don't know how old Bowden Barrett is now. I think he's probably about 33 or something like that. Like, he's been around for a while. Have you got that up for me?
Telling you now, he is 33. Hang on.
Wow, what a guess.
That's phenomenal.
But he was still pulling the strings for the All Blacks. And I think what did it in the end for England, because this was a game that for a long time England looked like they were going to win. But what did it in the end was the physicality of the All Blacks with the replacements. So England replaced their forwards in, I think it was about the 60th minute or so, because, you know, you've got to replace the forwards, they're getting tired, putting in some big hits. Shout out to Cunningham South for England. He was putting in some mega hits like the whole game. But then when he came off, and then Dan Cole and a couple others came on, I can't remember who.
Is Dan Cole the big bold one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's still going. He's like,
Yeah.
I don't know how old he is, but he's been around the block for fucking ages. But
37. is Dan Cole.
when he came on and when the others came on, I'm not singling him out especially, but England just started to retreat, and it kind of looked inevitable that the All Blacks were going to score. And they did in the 75th minute through Mark Talea, who is a cracking player. Talea, the player. What a man. But
so stupid.
But I don't know quite how he scored this try. So it goes out to near the touchline, about like I think when he receives it, he's still got 5 meters or so to make, and he just kind of jinks and jives, and I don't know quite how he outstretches to get one hand down for this try, but it was mental. You'll probably only find extended highlights, but it'll be later in the game, before the kind of George Ford anything. If it's
just before that.
Yeah, it's before that. Keep going back, Prod. Forward a bit. Be here. This is the try.
Christ.
Yeah, he kind of. I don't want to say Jonah Lomu-esque, because that feels like such a lazy comparison, but he managed to shrug off everyone that was trying to tackle him. I don't know quite how he did it, but the game wasn't done there. So New Zealand, then that try was converted to make it 22-24. George Ford, who'd come on for Marcus Smith, that's a great kick, by the way.
Prod.
You missed that, Prod. This is one of the best conversions I've ever seen.
Wow.
I don't know quite how
Tom Evans-esque.
Yeah, Damien McKenzie's just slotted that one from the most improbable angle. I don't know how he's done it. But then the game wasn't done there. There was a couple of minutes, and England trying to find a winner. They've been going for drop goals all game, but none of them have come off. They get a penalty with about a minute to go. George Ford, who's come on for Marcus Smith, takes it, strikes the post, and then England... What are you playing here, Frost?
The first yellow card will be for foul play, and it'll be a...
To be fair, you've written this down in the notes, and I do want to talk about this. Why the hell can't we have this in football?
Yeah.
Why can't we have this in football? Why can't the referees talk us through the decision?
This is George Ford hitting the post, by the way.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, but then England immediately got another penalty after that. So they got a scrum here, and then they're trying to score. They're physically outmatched. It goes back to George Ford. He drop kicks, and it just goes about 5 meters wide.
That's tough.
It's a stinking way to lose, and it would have been our first win at Twickenham against New Zealand since 2012.
Yeah.
It wasn't to be, but really great match, and yeah. And Joe Marler's retired as well.
I really like him. I'm a big Joe Marler fan.
Proper shit house.
Yeah, that's why I like him.
Yeah, he'd been in some sort of social media storm because he made some comments about the hacker. I don't know exactly what they were. I don't think that they were that bad.
They weren't that bad. He was basically saying, like, he basically put out this tweet that was like, bin off the hacker, completely unnecessary, like basically as a joke, and people took it and went, fuck this guy, like, this guy's so disrespectful. And he tweeted and was just like, obviously didn't mean to cause any offence, it was a joke, like, naturally.
Yeah.
But
I think
didn't come across very
he's
well.
got young family. I think he wants to retire, spend time with his kids. So fair play to him. And he's been a great servant for England.
Yeah.
94 caps, I think. 94 or 95. He's been around the block. And he's put in some fantastic appearances over the years.
Yeah.
Especially I'd probably say more recently, the World Cup semi-final against South Africa. It was immense there, and we should have won that game. That was a heartbreaker. But yeah, there's a little rugby update, which we haven't done in a long time.
No, we haven't done a rugby update in ages. Should we talk about the F1?
Yeah, go on.
The F1, phenomenal race. Ramsey, you watched that race, I think? You enjoy that?
Come on the mic.
Come on the mic.
Come on.
Get involved. But yeah, no, phenomenal race. One of the best we've had in yonks.
So you guys
Ramsey, give us your,
you
give
went
us
to
your-
watch it at Orbad, didn't you?
Yeah.
Give
It
us
was
your thoughts.
me,
Well,
Nick, and Ramsey.
Hang on.
And from what I've seen, it was an incredible race.
Well, we went to watch it at Old Bar, and the Chelsea United game was on at the same time. So we were sort of swivelling heads between both bits of sport. But the F1 was definitely the more interesting bit of sport, and it was just a shambles, really. It was just chaotic.
But in the kind of best way possible
Yeah.
with F1, like because it was a wet race. There's always drama when it's a wet race, and it was just mental. Verstappen, I don't like Max Verstappen, but you have to give him credit where credit's due because he put in a phenomenal drive.
Yeah, he qualified in 12th and he had a 5-place grid penalty, so that meant he was 17th. Effectively, though, it was 15th because Carlos Sainz started in the pit and Alex Albon didn't start at all because he binned it in quali a few hours before. But yeah, Verstappen made up, I think he was up to 11th on the first lap.
Yeah.
And then he got up to 6th behind Charles Leclerc for a while. And then the gamble that Red Bull played with Verstappen and Alpine, who we'll get onto, played with Ocon and Gasly, was they stayed out in the hope that the weather would get worse and that there would be a red flag. The weather did get worse and there was a red flag, but it was because Franco Colapinto binned it. So they got a free change of tyre, and then Verstappen went on and won it.
It was the thing is, it was a great bit of strategy from Red Bull and Alpine. However, I thought McLaren and Mercedes fucked it with Norris and Russell.
They brought them in right at the end of the
And there was a lot of discussion about that on the commentary, and they were saying that neither of them were over the white line that you need to be either side of to commit to either going into the pits or staying out. At that point, you can see on the graphic, and the teams know, that the virtual safety car is ending. Why on earth they didn't get them to stay out, I don't understand, because it meant that rather than getting a cheaper pit stop as you would under a VSC, they had basically a normal pit stop. And so it fucked their races, and it meant that Verstappen cruised to the win. I mean, he won by, I think, 19 seconds or 20 seconds, was
He
it?
put in like 11 out of his last 12 laps were fastest laps.
Yeah.
Like he was just banging them in.
And
That,
so-
that man was one with his car
Yeah.
in that race. It was one of the great performances.
It was very, very, very
Yeah, well,
impressive.
Christian Horner said it was his best race.
Yeah.
I think probably
Yeah.
was. But yeah, so that wraps up the title pretty much for Verstappen. He can win it next. It'll be in a few weeks when they go to
Yeah.
Vegas, because we've got a bit of a break now before the last triple header of the season. But yeah, Alpine have moved from P9 in the constructors to P6 with that double podium. Just crazy.
Which was very impressive, to be fair. And I quite like Alpine. I've got a soft spot for Alpine. I don't know why, I really like Gasly and Ocon. I don't like them as drivers, but I like them as blokes. So it was nice to see.
Well, it feels proper having two Frenchmen in a French team.
Yeah.
You know, it's a Renault team. Let's
Yeah.
not beat around the bush. And they should be performing better than they have done. Something that Tomo F1 was talking about. Like,
What a YouTuber, by the way.
what a man. I
Yeah.
was watching his post-race gym work yesterday, and he was like...
Always good crack.
Yeah. And he was just like, you know, this is a Renault team. Renault are you know, automotive industry icon. They should not be P9 in the constructors.
No.
They should not be out of the points every week. This is where they should be.
100%.
But yeah, it's good. And they're based back in England, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Near where Jeremy Clarkson has his farm. So
Yeah.
he put out a supportive tweet for Alpine. I think he'll send them some Hawks. Some Hawkston. Yeah.
Should we do a bit of an American sport update? Yeah, I'll talk to you about the
Talk
NFL
to us.
really quickly. Last week, I had a bit of a cry about how the Bears lost in the last moments of the game. This week, we didn't lose in the last moments of the game. We were just shit the whole game. I'll pull up the score.
So you lost then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, naturally. Because any team that I support inevitably is shit. I don't support good teams. It just never happens.
Wolves were incredible.
Huh?
Wolves were incredible.
Yeah, incredibly shit. So the Bears, the record's now 4-4. The Cardinals beat the Bears. The Bears lost 29-9 and just looked terrible. Caleb Williams has literally no pass protection, and the whole offensive line needs to go. They were cheap on building that offensive line, and it just isn't working. Caleb Williams has no time to pass the ball and is getting sacked a ridiculous amount of times. So I think Matt Eberflus needs to go, who's the head coach of the Bears, and they need to bring in a more offensive-minded head coach and spend some money on the offensive line because it's not working. That's my Bears update. Probably an Eagles update.
Yeah, I didn't really get to watch much of it this time because obviously been watching the mighty Mansfield. But I kept up with the score, and we actually scored a touchdown in the first quarter for once, so that was nice. And we was kind of quite dominant throughout kind of the first half. And then the Jaguars got like 16 in one quarter, and that kind of made it close right up to the end, but managed to hold on. So 6-2 now, second in our little division. So.
I tell you who I love watching play is Saquon Barkley.
Did you see his little
no-look
hurdle?
Mate,
yeah.
that no-look hurdle, we were sat in the pub and I watched that happen and just went, what
I'm
the
getting
fuck?
that.
Mate, pull that, boys, have a look at this, right? This is nuts. Like, this guy, I think, like running backs wise, is probably my favourite. Who was I think he was at the Giants before, right?
Yeah.
Because I used to use the Giants on franchise mode. But Saquon Barkley, techie. Well, watch this guy.
6 for Philadelphia. Hurts has time. Now locates Barkley out of the backfield. Barkley slips two.
Oh, that was cheeky.
Mate, it's so techie.
Why has he just jumped over a man?
Mate, it's so good.
I didn't know
The
you were
spin,
allowed to jump over
yeah,
people.
mate, hurdles. Mate, when players hurdle, it's the best shit ever. Oh,
That
it's
was
so good,
awesome.
man. Yeah, so that's, I guess, our NFL update. Then MLB, the Dodgers played the Yankees in the World Series, which I watched actually a lot of. Which I don't tend to watch the MLB. I keep up with it, but I don't tend to watch it. But yeah, so the Dodgers played the Yankees. Dodgers went 3-0 up. So bear in mind it's a series of 7, so first to 4 wins. But the Dodgers went 3-0 up. The Yankees won the 4th, and then the Dodgers won the what am I talking about here? Won the 5th. Yeah. So yeah, the Dodgers. I mean, they've been the best team in baseball all season. Thanks. Bear in mind, probably a big part of that is Shohei Ohtani, who I spoke about actually a lot last year. When I sort of started getting into baseball a bit more.
Showtime.
Yeah, Shohei Ohtani, who left the LA Angels, the team that I follow. I'm not going to say support anymore because I don't know if I can. But the team that I follow left them, went to the Dodgers, who have been a pretty good team. And he's had an incredible season. He will more than likely be the MVP of this season. But he has had a 50-50 season, which is the first time in MLB history that a player's done that. What that means is he hit 50 home runs and stole 50 bases. Normally, that club is referred to as the 40-40 club, and that's a big and impressive achievement. To hit 50, so I mean, a 50 home run season is phenomenal in its own right. Mm-hmm. To steal 50 bases alongside that is basically, it's the perfect show of power and speed.
What is stealing a base?
So in baseball, when you get onto a base, but at points there are kind of, basically, if I'm on first base, I could run to second base. Like, say my mate's batting, he misses it, and the keeper's got it in his hand. While that ball is in play, I'm allowed to run to the next base. But if I get thrown out at that base, then I've not stolen that base. So to get from first to second or second to third, without a hit, like in being in play, and without being thrown out, is a stolen base. So it's incredible speed, but also to hit 50 home runs. And I mean, this guy hits them far. But also the thing is, which is like phenomenal work, is that he's done all that. But what kind of you can bear in mind is he's not just a batter. Shohei Ohtani is a two-way player, which means he bats, so he hits and he pitches. This season he hasn't pitched because he underwent surgery in his arm. But for him to be an MVP candidate while taking away completely one side of his game is nothing short of phenomenal. I mean, this guy is the best player in baseball, and it's not even close.
Is he the best player in history?
I would argue, yeah. I mean, you like there's Babe Ruth comparisons, but Babe Ruth did it against plumbers, so I'm not going to count that. I think Shohei Ohtani is or will be the greatest baseball player of all time. Because
he sounds like a freak.
He is a freak. They call him a unicorn because he is so unique. Like this guy is next level. He is is electric to watch. But also he's like the nicest bloke ever. But yeah, good lad. Good lad, Shohei.
So that I saw the ball that he hit for his 50th home run.
Yeah.
And do you know how much that is sold for now?
I'll pull that up.
Because it is now the most expensive sports
That's
ball
sold
in
for
history.
£3.4 million. or 4.4 million US dollars
For a baseball.
for a
That's
baseball.
ridiculous, isn't
The
it?
first player in baseball history to do it. I mean, that's ridiculous. And the previous record paid was 3 million. So
So you know that the fellow who's sold it, obviously now he's
Yeah.
a millionaire, but he was actually offered $300,000 by Ohtani and the Dodgers for that ball, and he turned it down.
yeah, you would
Good
though,
lad.
wouldn't you?
Oh yeah.
And now he's gone and sold it for several million. He's done well for himself.
Very
Yes.
well, to be fair. But yeah, that's my kind of MLB wrap up.
Tennis, Alfie.
Tennis.
Speak to us.
One kind of main story. Zverev has won his 7th ATP 1000 Masters and his first Paris Masters. And he's now passed the world number 1 Jannik Sinner for most victories this year, 66. And he won in straight sets against Hugo Humbert, who was also playing for his 4th title of the season. And that is my little tennis update.
Well done.
Thank you, Brad.
Do we have anything else to talk about?
I found this one story yesterday. It's that Tom Daley, recently retired Tom Daley, Olympic diving legend, he is opening his own knitting exhibition in Tokyo.
All
That's
good
quite
sport
cool.
trip.
Oh, you know what? I'd love to go to
Should we go and open it?
Yeah, we'll go get some knitting
We'll
going.
go and
Ramsey,
cut
you were
them.
talking about you wanted to. You thought you could get into some knitting.
I could see
You,
you
gi- you
knitting.
give me knitting vibes.
Come on,
You
come
could
and
knit-
explain
you could
your
knit
knitting.
yourself some more
Yeah.
jumpers.
No, that's when we were saying you wanted a rocking chair.
Oh yeah.
And I
okay.
thought that would pair well with.
But I think you could get away with knitting. I feel like you'd be a good knitter, a nitty.
Well, you wanted a rocking chair because you were Bray Wyatt.
I was
at
with
the
Bray
ticket
Wyatt, but
for Halloween.
which was great fun to be fair.
It was.
Shout out Halloween.
Joe, who are you for Halloween again?
I was.
Yeah, who were you
Good
for Halloween?
question. I was.
Does Izzy listen?
10 Things I Hate About You, the film. I was like a scene out of
Oh,
it. I was,
okay. Do you know what? I get that now.
I was Heath Ledger.
Yeah. Do you know what? Respect. That's actually quite a good.
So it was
costume.
quite a creative one. Didn't
good film.
provide much context.
It's a good
No,
film.
to be fair, looking at that, that's very obvious what they were.
It's a clip when they go.
There
like,
we
paintball.
go, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It's a great film.
But yeah, no, it was good. I loved it, yeah. And it was a bit of a better effort on my part.
Izzy's under the table with a gun to his bollocks.
Proddy, what were you?
I was over in the Chipmunks one night and then Scooby-Doo second.
The Scooby-Doo costume was superb. You very much suited Scooby-Doo.
I didn't manage to catch that one because you left before we got
I
there.
did, yeah. I had a bit of a
But
crazy
for
night.
context, you'd hopped. Party hopper, weren't you? Three
Yeah,
parties.
3 parties.
You were doing the same, weren't you?
I
Jim?
was party off.
Yeah. Real ones just stayed.
Just get more friends, mate.
Right, should we wrap up?
Yeah.
Right. I'm trying to think. Well, yeah. So this episode will probably come out Tuesday, theoretically. But what you should do is go and listen to Musish podcast because Ramsey Owen sat in the corner and I'm on that as the producer. But yeah, go do that. Listen to like all the All in Good Sports. Follow us on Instagram. Follow Musish Pod on Instagram. Follow
You
the
know
Shoelegs
what
on
to
Instagram.
do.
Follow me on Instagram. Follow LSR Sport. You know, just do the things that I say every week. Like, subscribe, share it.
Wing Wednesdays on
Enjoy
Wednesday.
it. Wing Wednesdays on Wednesday.
Come down to Boddington the Sport Hub. Support the boys.
Yeah, and yeah, I've been Chris Tarkle.
I've been Jimmy Blackburn.
I've been Joe Rainbow.
I've been Alf Langford.
You've been who? Sorry.
Alf Langford.
And we'll
It's been
see
a long
you.
hour.
We'll
You've
see
been
you
mystery
next
cheeky.
week.
Thank you.
Bye.